Now, if you're a frequent viewer of mine, you're probably thinking, but Aiden, didn't you make a video the other week saying how good the mini patch was? And whilst yes, I did, do you know what's a really good thing to have as a content creator that makes content like this? Hindsight. Yep, I simply spoke too soon. Whilst some of the changes that were made were good, they didn't really have a massive effect on the meta. Sure, Orisa does slightly less damage now and has a lower amount of armor, but that wasn't the problem. In this video, I'm going to explain why the meta still works and why it's going to continue to work until Blizzard ultimately decides to gut the heroes that work in it. I'll get into it in a minute, but first I'm going to ask you to subscribe, as I want to keep making Overwatch 2 related content that isn't only entertaining, but informative too. Now, time to discuss what's really making Horse meta so effective. Simply put, Horse meta is effective because all the heroes complement each other well. They all act as enablers to one another, allowing them to easily secure kills against the enemy team as one big unit whilst also being self-sustaining. I mentioned this literally a few days ago in my previous video, but Tracer and Ashe enable each other by being polar opposites. Tracer goes in up close to distract the enemies in the backline on the flank and causes enough damage for Ashe to follow up with a few shots of her own, ultimately taking out the backline. This logic applies to what's happening up front with Orisa, Juno, and Brig. Brig's dealing damage up close and just generally being annoying, which heals Orisa and makes it so she never really goes below the armor threshold of her health bar. Juno plays closer towards the back of the fight to give extra healing at a range and also help secure kills with her torpedoes. She's also used to help Brig and Orisa get out of the fight and retreat to wherever they need to with Hyper Ring. That's why this comp is so good, which also happens to be why the Orisa nerf ultimately changed nothing. The team comp is simply too strong, not Orisa. The question is, how does the balancing team balance this out? How do they make it so that Horse meta is still a viable pick but not stupidly overpowered? Well, in all honesty, they can't. The only way to effectively nerf it would be to essentially gut all the heroes individually so that they don't enable each other as much as they currently do. The nerfs to Orisa and Juno weren't enough, there needs to be something more substantial, and before you say, the team comp is fine, you can just counter it with Ana and Zarya, that's not the point. It's like putting tape on a broken car mirror. Sure, it works, but it's only a temporary fix to a bigger problem. The car mirror will eventually fall off, and that's what will happen in this comp. But that just about does it for this video. Do I think that they'll end up gutting Orisa in a future balance patch? Yes, but ultimately we'll be back in this position in a couple of seasons because they love to slowly buff her again season after season. The only reason she's so good now is because of power creep over the span of 4 seasons or so. They always end up doing this. It's like an inescapable pattern that they just can't stop doing. They don't do it with just Orisa either. Power creep was the reason D.Va became meta last season. I think what we really need is another huge balance patch to address a lot of the problems with the game as a whole, but that probably won't happen until they decide what they're doing with 6v6 and a bunch of other crap, like whether or not characters they neglect like Venture and Echo will get more than one skin a year. What can I say, the team has favourites. Anyways, thanks for watching. Once again, I'm going to ask you to subscribe and leave a like on this video as it lets me know that you've enjoyed it and want to see more. Let me know how you feel about Horse meta still being as crazy strong as it is, even after the quote-unquote nerfs in the comments. I'm pretty sure I know already, but some of you surprised me with your opinions. Finally, have a nice day or night if you're watching this at night, and make sure you check out some of my other videos. Not only will I appreciate it, but you might too.